Welcome. Somebody told me to say Buenos tardes, Zaragoza.
Thank you very much, Atem. Welcome everybody here and outside of Spain to the Water Tribune.
Let me quickly move to Professor Cala in Zaragoza. And I understood, Professor Cala, you want to start with the 3 minutes video first on the switch program.
Overcrowded cities, unpredictable climate conditions, increasing pollution, and aging infrastructure are putting increasing pressures on daily life.
Undertaking the research and then testing the efficacy of that research. I'm convinced that by working with the cities in such close partnership will ensure the maximum uptake of the innovations we're developing.
Switch is based, as I said, on some key concepts. The first is in relation to interventions across the whole urban water cycle. So we are developing modeling tools that simulate the behavior of the entire urban water cycle. We understand that there are these external pressures. We all recognize that. We know that there's a degree of uncertainty associated with these pressures. My question to all of you is, how have we changed the way we do things in recognition to these changes in the external environment? Are our engineers using a manual which is different to what they might have used 30 years ago in recognition that there is this problem that we're facing?
Something that Atem put in the table I find very interesting about, how dynamic are we in terms of pressing our politicians to take action since no election.
Semana Water Company is looking at the urban sector. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission came in as part of the reforms to look at the economic aspects of water regulation.
Are we prepared really to put some kind of penalty or price, or economic instrument to really make our politicians or our people more aware that indeed this is a scarce resource?
Those who don't have access to the products is seen to be paying much more. In Ghana, we believe that they are paying about 2-3 times more than those who have direct access to the water.
Mr. Torkowski, I would like to ask, how do you deal with these dilemmas? How much measurable tools are you using to balance between long and shorter term interests of communities, of politicians, of other stakeholders playing in the city?
The long-term planning, the late 90s, we have developed general plans for how the system is going to operate in the future, and the plan includes both the sewerage as all the natural rivers that are present on the city area, so it deals with the problems in a very systematic, very integrated way. So indeed we also have these mechanisms, and we consult the decisions of the city council and the city office directly with the citizens, so they are asked to send their proposals.
Yes, I would like to add also something to that. Should we maybe in 20 years from now, to change the utilities from service organizations to enabling organizations. So no longer try to expand this centralized infrastructure, the distribution networks, the sewer pipes, but let's invest in enabling communities to find their own, maybe more local solutions.
What would be the one single advice you would want to give them with regard to dealing with the water challenges and the generic challenges in facing cities currently?
We have not been managing well. That is why AVRL was brought into the system. But we see, like the man from Netherlands also was saying, we have a lot of corruption in the system where people connect illegally. So we should have to make some laws that will be punitive enough to deter people from making these illegal connections.
Trigger the leaders in cities, the decision makers in cities, to embrace those emerging new innovative ways of solving problems, lowering down the pressures, and institutionalizing those, pricing those, or make sure that people can financially sustain those services in a sustainable way. Now, time to go back to Zaragoza.
Thank you, Adam. One thing that, during this discussion, it was very clear to me is about, at the end of the day, when you speak about pockets of poverty and water policy, really the focus is about providing basic service to the poor, and water is probably the most important of that services.
My experience in most of the cities in Africa and Asia is that we provide people with regularly irregular supplies. People have no confidence in the system. The suppliers supply water when they feel that they like to supply them. And so what you have is particularly the low-income people having to hoard water. Their whole lifestyles get affected by the way in which the water is being supplied. They actually become slaves to the water supply system.
We can actually encourage small and medium enterprises to sell water to the poor. So competition will probably would lower the price of the water.
I think the corruption thing has to be put very clearly on top of the table, because when we make an analysis of corruption in the water utilities, we find out that little money is doing big holes in many cases because of the lack of control.
I think one of the problems that we have is that very often the problem is not physical scarcity, it's actually poor management.
Using a new direction of strategy to help the water management in the urban center, we must all get on board and really understand the water cycle and get involved.
We need to empower people in terms of the water supply sector, and we need more socially driven type of approaches. Thank you.